On the next all-new episode of Ninja Kamui.
Found out that Aoza is a multinational enterprise company. It's safe to say there's no country in the world without Aoza now.
Huh? Let's get out of here! I think I got him!
Damn, serious ninjas!
Ninja Kamui. Next Saturday night at midnight on Toonami. Next day on Max. On the next all-new episode of Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba Entertainment District.
Nezuko! No, don't! You have to stop it!
You've got some nerve doing that to me.
I have to think. Her attack will come any second now. I can't just let go of Nezuko. But if I don't, these people will get hurt!
Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba Entertainment District. Next Saturday at 12:30. Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Toonami Therapy on February 14th of 2024. I'm Michael.
I'm Tommy.
And we're here to just talk about some anime stuff we've been watching, some of which is on Toonami. We were off last week because we weren't able to record, but we're back, and, well, I'd like to say better than ever, but we're really about the same. Might have actually decayed slightly. Alright, because I now have to remember what things happened 2 weeks ago. Alright, so we'll just get into it. So first we have the new show. There's Ninja Kamui Episode 1. So basically there's this guy and he's having this he's got a wife and a kid, and things are all happy. But as well, we were kind of wondering, so will things go horribly wrong for them before or after the commercial break?
Mm-hmm.
It was a little before. A bunch of ninja guys decide to go in and try to kill all of them. He manages to survive, but they don't. And then he gets attacked by ninjas again and fights them off. And he mentions that we find out, well, he apparently was a ninja or something like that. And then I guess he's gonna go on a big revenge thing against all the bad guys now.
So the rest of this show will basically just be the plot of Taken.
Well, actually, I never saw that movie, but that was about the guy who wanted to rescue his daughter, right?
Right, and then he went around torturing every single person who was responsible for doing it in increasingly more gruesome ways, too.
Okay, I didn't know that part of it.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll see, because this episode was really all set up. And also to, I guess, establish that, yeah, if you don't like seeing blood, you shouldn't watch this. Although, it's also, it's violent, but it's also violent in the kind of, almost cartoon way. It didn't really feel to me like it was the kind of brutality you'd sometimes see on something like JoJo. It's just like, oh, look, people get slashed and there's a bunch of blood. So, anyway, I thought it was okay. I mean, the fight choreography is good, but there's just not really much to say in terms of plot yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know where this is going, and it's not going to be very original, but, hopefully they manage to make the fighting scenes enjoyable enough to make up for what's probably going to be a very cliche plot.
Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about Hard on the Plot because we haven't gotten to it yet, really. Maybe it'll be a super complicated show with a whole ton of plots and twists, and I don't know. Or maybe it will just be a simple revenge story. I guess we'll see. The series is too early to make a decision. I'll just say that as a first episode, it was okay. All right. So, we then have Demon Slayer episodes. Okay. Are you feeling okay still now?
Yeah, I'm. This is the way I've been, so yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of got sick. That's why we didn't record last week. I thought I should mention to listeners so they know what the coughing is.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Demon Slayer episodes 37 and 38. All right, so let's see if I can remember exactly things that happened. Episode 30, basically, Tanjiro ends up encountering the demon girl, and they fight, and she's except she's like one of the really strong ones, so he kind of struggles a lot. Meanwhile, we do have Inosuke manages to look. He tracks down where it seems like a bunch of the people are being that were captured are being held, and then fights against a fabric thing that's got a face on it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was they do find and rescue two of the sound ninja guys like wives, because like it mentioned he has multiple ones apparently. So we meet them, I guess. And yeah, so that was basically the episodes.
Yeah, I thought the second one was pretty entertaining. Pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. The part where the person just tells Tanjiro, yeah, I knew you were a boy. I never thought you were a girl. That was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
One weird thing I note is that prior to this, Demon Slayer didn't really have much at all in terms of fan service, but then suddenly we're just getting a bunch of it more at it. I'm like, the demon girl, I'm like, okay, that outfit doesn't seem like it's very practical for battle, is the thing I always think. So, I don't know, just a little weird that it suddenly pops up like that. But yeah, some of the jokes were kind of funny. Inosuke was interesting, and yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about it, unfortunately. The problem is when we've got two episodes, when we skip over, I struggle to remember what happened in the first of them. Okay, so then we've got Dr. Stone, episode 57, which aired last week, but not the... it aired the week before last week. It was the last one. So they all managed to get back home. Senku mentions that he's deduced that the petrification device thing is low on batteries. I understand that his assertion, when you make it this big, when you make the blast of it this big, it'll run out of batteries. I'm still a little kind of confused about, okay, how did he know exactly how much there was?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they're still able to use it to petrify Tsukasa's preserved body, and then unpetrified, which brings him back to life. And Senku mentions to them, yeah, we're going to the moon. And then, but before that, they have to, go and
take over the world, literally.
Yeah, go across the world to get all the stuff they need, and they're going to go across the ocean to the United States next to get sweet corn, so that they can make a ton of revival fluid and stuff. And then they go off to their next adventure, and the season ends.
Yeah, and I apologize that I'm not talking that much tonight because the more I talk, the more I cough. But I think this was one of the more effective Senku ideas that has been brought up, of having to go around the world and create all these cities. I think that's actually a really cool concept. I'm just afraid it's going to be one of these things where they build it, where all you see is it getting built, and then 10 seconds it's already there, and they've moved on already because they need to go to the moon. And I think it's a cool concept. They're going to go around and make all these cities so they can manufacture the things they need to go to the moon. I just hope they don't do it the same way they did the Ryusui money thing, where all of a sudden money suddenly has value and then it loses value, and all this all in the span of 10 minutes. So I'm not opposed to the show taking a little longer if it means it's going to make more sense.
Yeah. One thing to note is that they did say that the next season they said it'll be the fourth and the final season. But the thing is, there's still a decent amount of the story left. And I'm thinking, even if it's like a double core, will they be able to fit everything in? So, I don't know. Maybe we'll see Dr. Stone, the final season, part 1, part 2, and part 3.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Attack on Titan.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this was a good episode, and I think on the whole, this was a pretty decent season. It kind of had a bit of a slow start, but once they left, I feel once they got the boat built and they left, things got a lot more interesting. We got some more information about the petrification. There's some good stuff there. So yeah, on the whole, a pretty decent season. I would like to, because when we made our year-end lists of our rankings of what we thought were the best and worst, I would like to just formally say, with the last few episodes, I would like to retroactively go back and move Dr. Stone up one slot. So, there you go. Alright. And then we have, after that, we've got Lycoris, Recoil, episodes 3 and 4. Okay, so let's see if I can... So these episodes basically... The first one was when they go back to the sort of headquarters and they sort of have... and, there's a bunch of stuff with Taki now about how she was kind of exiled and a bunch of people don't really want her back anymore, but then she and Chisato beat some of the other Lycoris people in a sort of mock battle to show, we're still good. Next one, the fourth one, and I'm going through these a bit faster because we have already seen these. But after that, there's a kind of weird one where Chisato decides that she that she thinks Takina should be wearing like more feminine underwear and drags her along on a shopping for that. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of mostly shenanigans, really. And we also do have one of the bad guy who basically tries to set a trap for a bunch of the other Lycoris people, and I can't remember if when he set off the explosives, I can't remember if any of them actually died or if they or if that was just to get him away, but at least, we've at least kind of started more on a continuing plot. There you go. Those are the episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not much to say because, we already reviewed these a long time ago.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, they had some funny jokes in them. There's some fun stuff, I guess. So, I don't really have too much really to say. Sorry, I feel like I'm saying that for a bunch of shows. It's weird. You'd think I'd have more when there's 2 episodes, but I feel like it's less because things get more jumbled in my mind. Oh, also, one thing. Last episode we talked about. We were wondering, what did she say? Supercar in the original Japanese. I looked it up. Yes, she says supercar, or at least like supaka. You know, as you would say it in Japanese.
Right.
So, okay. Yes. So we got those. All right, and then we close off with One Piece episode 651 and 652. I think were the wait. Wait, I think I might have gotten these numbers wrong. No, I think this was 652 and 653. Oh, dang! Have I gotten all these numbers wrong before now? I'm not sure. Okay, 652, 653. So Rebecca goes to fight, and you don't really see too much of it, honestly. Mm-hmm. But she's apparently pretty good. Meanwhile, we have we just get, slight updates on what most other people are doing. Ultimately, we do get back to the ship where Brooke manages to trick the evil person into giving him his instruments back, but those are his weapons, so he beats her, except then it turns out, no, we haven't actually beaten her, and she because we need to pad the episode out with filler, so she uses this extra weird attack thing, and they beat her for real this time, and that's the episode. I'll be honest, even if that second half of the episode, I understand, is basically filler with the extra fight, I'll take it over, a ton of reaction shots to pad things out.
Yeah, it was One Piece.
Mm-hmm.
Not much more to say than that, because that whole huge scene of all those reaction shots of Rebecca getting booed and jeered and all those people angry at her, and that went on way too long, but it had to, because how else were they going to fill up a whole episode? Mm-hmm. So yeah, typical One Piece. From what you told me, it's not going to get any better.
I've heard it gets worse. Yes, I think I did hear that in some later ones they at least try to be a little more creative with the padding than just putting in a bunch of like reaction shots and stuff. More a case of like trying to just add things. But mm-hmm. that's what I've heard. But we definitely will not be at least moving forward at a faster pace in the future. And if anything, I've heard that it gets a little worse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. But that's it. Not really too much to say beyond that, I guess. It's just, the usual One Piece. You watch 2 episodes and it feels like one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then we'll move on to the stuff that's not on Toonami. We've got Shangri-La Frontier, episode 11. All right. So basically, Son Raku, yeah, that's what I call him. His name is Rakuro. I was just looking at something and it said Rakuro, and I was like, well, I always call him Son Raku because that's the name I actually remember. So he decides that he needs to get, so he discovers that he can get his weapons upgraded by the rabbits, so he gets them upgraded. What I just described encompasses the first half of the episode or so. Then we, but then he does get the weapon stuff, but then he's told, yeah, you got to be a higher level to do it, so you'd better get to level grinding. And so that's what he's going to have to basically do. Yeah, not really that much happened in the episode. I mean, if you liked the song that the guy was singing when he was making the weapons, maybe you liked it, but, it's not Bink Sake, unfortunately. So, Yeah, I don't have, once again, not too much to say. I did not think it was that great of an episode, unfortunately.
Yeah, same thing here. I think there's a lot of ways this show can be good, but right now it's just kind of, mediocre.
Yeah, at least this episode. Honestly, I was thinking about Binks Sake, or Binks's Brew, as they render it in the dub, on One Piece. I'm like, yeah, when you get down to it, that was just a bunch of singing that wasn't really important. But there's two things. One, it was better integrating into the plot because it was flashing between like the past and the present to show some things. And second, it was a much better song.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then we've got, after that, let's see, teen romantic comedy SNAFU, episode 20. So, in this one, they continue, there's still more stuff in the school council. We seem to get, I guess, a bit more confirmation. Yeah, all the people, or maybe all the people in the student council have no idea what they're doing, and they just say things that they think sound smart. So they're then trying to basically get the event together in time with all the stuff.
I think that was the last episode.
No, that was last episode, but that was also this episode.
This episode was different. What episode was I supposed to watch?
Wasn't it last episode? It was I did get this stuff right, didn't I? Last episode, we had episode 19, which had a bunch of the stuff with the student council, and then this episode also had a bunch of stuff with the student council. Episode 20, that was going to be my comment. It felt like we mostly just did the previous episode again.
But what episode is that into the season?
Oh, into the season? 7.
Yeah, that's the one I watched. I don't remember everything seeming exactly the same. There was stuff where he had to do something for his little sister, and then he had to meet that guy who he always falls in love with, and at a restaurant, and
there was also that stuff, but the main plot was still all about the student council.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't really feel like we got much here that we didn't get before. Sure, there was some other stuff, and that's the same with the previous episode, but it mostly felt like we were just kind of continuing the same stuff from the previous episode to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. This season hasn't been nearly as good as the last season. The last season started out slow and then ended up being really good. This one started out slow and it's staying slow. So, yeah, I like to see it get better. Because I had high hopes for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did see some people say they thought the second season was not as good as the first.
Yeah, I can see why.
Alright. Then the last of the anime stuff was Full Metal Panic Fumoffu episode 3. Did you want?
I know I got this one right.
Okay. Did you want to describe it, or do you want me to?
It's probably not a good idea to make me talk.
Oh yeah, lot, so. Right. That makes sense. Okay, so they basically go to the beach. Kaname gets angry at Sosuke, and she ends up going off with this other person. Sosuke incorrectly believes she's been kidnapped, and she tells the kid that was interested in her, because she went with him over to his sort of mansion, that Sosuke's like, he's a weird guy, he's not a friend of mine. But so the kid makes it so that it has a bunch of guards, and they all to try to beat Sosuke, but he beats them, and then, he reaches Kaname, and she says, oh yeah, I actually do know this guy. So then the kid guy gets angry at them, and I guess that's the episode, really.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Well,
sorry.
I was going to say, well, unfortunately, the first 2 episodes I really liked, but I didn't really care for this one of Fumoffu.
Actually, I thought it got better whenever there was a few good moments to it where, Sosuke blasts the watermelon with his gun.
That was good.
It goes right on Kaname. And then the way he's standing at that voice that I don't know what to describe it as, but he's asking them if they've seen a certain girl, and he's reading off every last description you could think of her, and they're like, nope, not here. and then there was some other funny moments, like whenever he slashed that guy's weapon up. So, yeah, I thought it was fairly good. The plot really doesn't matter. And by the way, I think I figured it out. Is that I had it mixed up. Is that the second raid actually happens right after the first season and before this. And instead, I'm having us watch them in the order that they were released. So I had it mixed up the other way. Okay. So I apologize for that. But, yeah.
Okay. So, well, my problem, there were a few funny jokes in this one, but I thought it was just kind of went on too long. I thought, like, even by its standards, the plot is kind of dumb. It's, so she just says, yeah, I don't know him. And she knows that Sosuke is kind of crazy and will go through a bunch of stuff to find her. So she just kind of caused a bunch of conflict for no real reason. And the jokes, for the while there were some good ones, for the most part, didn't really land for me. Of course, I generally don't like beach episodes anyway, which this was. But at the same time, even beyond that, I just kind of found myself bored by a lot of it, which is a shame because I really liked the first 2 episodes. I noticed that the first 2 episodes, they had like 2 separate plots in them. This one, it's just one for this episode. And I'm kind of wondering, maybe like the jokes, like I feel like I would have liked this more if this had just been, if its length had been cut in half. So they could have just focused more on the jokes and less on the other things. So I kind of wonder if that might have been part of the problem also. Okay. So, yep, we got that. And yay, that's our anime stuff. We also did watch the One Piece live action. Do you want to do the top 3s and then discuss that, or the other way around?
Yeah, we'll do the top 3. I just came up with mine. First place will be Dr. Stone. Second place will be Demon Slayer. And third place I will give to the new show, Ninja Kamui, I think it's called. And it gets on there in third place. So it already has more points than One Piece. So there you have it.
Well, for me, I kind of feel like this was a kind of weak, a week, well, 2 weeks, I guess, where for the stuff that wasn't on Toonami, which is kind of funny because a lot of times it seems it's like the opposite way. Because I'm like, Shangri-La Frontier, well, that was kind of boring. SNAFU, well, I found that kind of boring. This episode of Fumoffu, I found that kind of boring. So that wasn't a great week for those series. So ultimately, I'm kind of, I can't remember. Have I been including Lycoris Recoil in my top 3s before?
I didn't think you were, but I'm not sure. So
all right, yeah. I don't think I have. So I'll just keep it dropped because we've already watched it. So sure, we'll do Dr. Stone first. I'll put Dr. Stone in first place. That's an easy one. Definite highlight of this week, among the anime stuff at least. I'll put in... Yeah, let's do Demon Slayer for second and Ninja Kamui for third. Is that the same order you had? Actually?
What?
I think it was.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. All right. All right, we'll close. We'll probably, because to try to finish soon. So yeah, we did watch another episode of the live-action One Piece, episode 6 in this one. We get a flashback for Sanji's backstory. Basically, the head chef guy, Zeph, they both ended up marooned on this island. Zeph gave Sanji a bunch of food, but claimed he was keeping a bunch for himself. But then we find out that he actually gave Sanji all the food, and what the food he claimed was actually just treasure, and that he ended up taking his own foot off to eat it, to sustain it, so that Sanji could survive. And that's why Sanji has been staying at the Brody all this time, because he feels he owes such a debt to him. But we also find out that Zeph has actually been wanting Sanji to leave and go after his dream of finding the All Blue, which did they actually define exactly what the All Blue was in this episode?
I have no clue what it is.
Okay, because I couldn't remember if they ever explicitly said what it was. Basically, the All Blue is a sea, a possibly legendary one. We don't know if it actually exists or not, but it's supposed to be one that has it's some ocean or sea that has fish from all the other seas, and therefore it's this great resource if you want to be a chef. So we don't know for sure, but Sanji's goal is to find it. Anyway, so Zoro manages to eventually recover from his wounds. This fishman named Arlong shows up looking for Luffy because he wants the map Luffy has, and fights Luffy. And very conveniently for Luffy, even though they're fighting on some docks and there's a bunch of water, Luffy doesn't get knocked into the water in the fight. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, Arlong's able to win, but Nami shows up, reveals that she's actually been working for him this whole time, and gives him the map, and then suggests... And so then Arlong, at Nami's suggestion, just throws Luffy into the water instead of killing him because, he ate the devil fruit, so he can't swim. But Sanji manages to rescue Luffy. Then he decides that he'll go off with Luffy, and they all need to... And they're basically going to try to go after where Arlong and Nami went. Oh, and... Luffy also somehow managed to get Buggy the Clown's head because Arlong had it, and I guess Luffy must have taken it at some point from him, because in case anyone forgot, no, but Buggy can split his body up, so his head is totally fine, even though you can tie it up and things. So that's the episode. Yes.
How long into the actual anime did Caesar or what Buggy's head last?
He actually, in the anime, after they fight him the first time, that's basically it. He doesn't show up until he does not. There's a side story thing. See, One Piece has these side stories where it used to, at least, doesn't really have them that much anymore, where at the start of each chapter there will be a one sort of panel thing of a character and a description of what they're doing, and those could go on for maybe 10 or even 20 or something parts to kind of show what some other characters were doing during the main plot. There was one that focused on Buggy, but other than that, he just kind of disappears from the plot after they beat him, and he only shows up again when they reach a place called Logue Town, which I think they should... I know where the first season ends. That'll be something they do early on in this second season. So yeah, but Buggy, they made him much more. He appeared a lot more in this than he did in the original manga or anime.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't mind him. I appreciate the fact he's better integrated into the plot, because a kind of weak point of the series so far is we keep cutting over to Kobe and Garp, and it's just usually not very interesting because they don't have any actual impact on the plot. It just cuts to them and they're doing some stuff, and then it cuts back. It doesn't.
Do you notice that Kobe, every time they show him on screen, it's that same super terrified pose? Like he has no other faces than that. It's the same exact thing all the time. And I'm kind of sick of it. I'm like, okay, doesn't really resemble the character on the show now that I've seen what he looks like. And all he's doing is just acting like he's scared to death. And I just feel like that's wasted time every episode.
When you say on the show, are you referring to the times we've seen him in the anime, or
just Google?
Well, I was just asking that because like I said, in the original series, he shows up at the beginning, then is kind of off screen for a long while, then he shows up again and he looks quite a bit different. So I was wondering which one you were looking at.
Oh, I'm not sure.
You were probably looking at the earlier. If I just Google and search. Yeah, it gives a mix of both, but it shows more, I think, some of his like older self who looks a bit different. So yeah, that's like the big issue I have. It keeps. I don't mind them including characters for longer than in the original thing, because you paid the actor to be there, you might as well keep using them. It's just I don't feel it's integrated as well as Buggy has been. Buggy wasn't around in this arc at all, but he feels like there's more of a purpose to him here. And actually, one shift they made, Arlong wasn't introduced in this arc. He was introduced in the next one. So they kind of had him come in here and sort of serve the role of a different character who fights Luffy. And I actually think that was a good move, because he's important, very important in the next arc. And I think it's actually good to have Luffy fight him and lose to set up I don't think it's really a spoiler to say they get a rematch. So, All right. So yes. I thought this episode was good, yes. The one interesting thing is that they actually, I think in the anime, cut out the part where the Zeph in the flashback like cuts off his leg to because he has to eat something. In the anime, that was what happened in the manga. The anime, he just lost his leg in the shipwreck, and we just said, oh no, he just didn't eat anything, so he got super thin and emaciated for a while as a result. The live action went more hard, which is what the manga did. All right, so that minor bit, at least I think that's how it goes. It's been so long since I saw the anime. Anyway, all right, I think we should probably be calling it to a close here.
Okay.
And yes, we'll be back here next week for the usual things. We'll have the Toonami. We'll have our other stuff to talk about. We're getting near the end of the live action One Piece, and it's been pretty good so far. So we'll see how those last 2 episodes are. And I don't think I have anything else to really say. So we'll see you next time.
Bye.
As super fans of RoboCop, we were kind of on the fence about reviewing this one.
We assumed that it was just another ill-fated attempt at cashing in on the franchise.
But Taeon really nailed it, and Rogue City is on point.
You spent your time policing the grimy streets of old Detroit,
Dispatching hordes of bad guys in hilariously 80s ultra-violent fashion.
and of course following Robo's prime directives, serving the public trust, protecting the innocent, and upholding the law.
The developers really love RoboCop, and it's evident throughout the game.
They even got Peter Weller to voice our hero again.
Drop it, scum.
Man, after walking in Robo shoes, I feel the need for a complete tech upgrade.
But Tom, you don't need that kind of firepower.
Yeah, I do. Wouldn't an Auto 9 fit nice right about here?
Tom, cut it out.
Okay. Suiting up as the ultimate lawman is every bit as fun as the first two movies. It's not perfect, but it's perfectly RoboCop.
We give it an 8 out of 10.
I'd buy that for $1.